The movie Attack the Gas Station is a good movie, and it's real nice. Now let me tell you about Attack the Gas Station, because in short, it's special. I rewatched it just 10 minutes ago, but what could that still be called? That is 10 minutes ago. It could be called 2 hours and 10 minutes ago. Woo-wee. But anyway, so Attack the Gas Station. I'm going to paint this shower. Attack the Gas Station is a Korean action comedy released in 2000, whatever the fuck I put on the video. And the fascinating thing about this movie, you see, is that it takes on this sort of pseudo-economic angle. And that's what I think the best sort of action movies are. Is these sort of, like, Rockies, the sort of, there's a reason behind the adversity. It's not quite like a Rambo, but like something where it's born out of, like They Live. They Live is a good example with Rodney Piper. You see him before even the main plot of the invasion of the aliens starts up. According to that, before even that, there's the fact of him moving to an entirely new town in Colorado with that guy from The Thing, the black guy from The Thing, who's all like, yo, I don't trust you. Now, I watched the movie They Live shortly before or after reading this thing about, you can have a left wing and you can have a right wing, but how about an up wing and a down wing, or like green and black, whatever the fuck you want to say. Now, the thing about these sorts of, like, asking about, like, oh, are these alignments relevant? Well, that's not even relevant in the first place, because, the question of relevancy is not a sort of, like, solvency or inherency thing. It's not like whether or not it can get the job done. It's whether it applies to the exact situation. You agree to this sort of binaries, but you think that maybe some binaries, some universal truths can be used to the deficit of some others. Now, my point here is that, like, there's so sensibility that people think, oh, it's gone away. Nobody ever thinks anymore about, like, their own sort of narratives. It's all in these certain things which, most people are in agreement on the certain themes of life. I feel that's what kind of people agree on. At least if you're in the politics, you agree that people are sort of galvanized in these general fields, and everybody gets these ideas. But the thing is, if you, and this is a flaw with education, that it has a big sort of hegemony. It doesn't have good heterarchy to it. Now, if you look at political institutions, that's not actually relevant. So the interesting thing about Attack the Gas Station is that it really synthesizes all that stuff about the action movie by, it's all rowdy shit, like one of those Seth Rogen comedies. And in that form, I think it has like a montage sort of plot, a montage plot with a lot of different snippets happening, sort of 80s Home Alone sort of thing. But the thing that interlinks this and makes it still a story that you want to follow is the fact that the linear narrative in the story is not what happens in the story, it's what happens before the story, contrasting with what happens in the story, which is this invasive force, but instead of like the sea peoples of the Iron Age, who, of the Bronze Age rather, who got rid of all their civilizations, you have these people who are very much like vulnerable to the people we're talking about, which, you know, so it's oft repeated by any liberal cup that bullies they have more pain in their heart than you do in your brain. Which, sure, you could say. But for many people, that's sort of like dramatic, like, come with me, Lucy. This person is very damaging inside. He has brains of his own, just like yours. He travels every day. He punches me with a thing. People are sympathetic to that. People are like, no, I don't want you to punch me in the body. I would very much like it to stop taking my life. People don't like that. Even though some sort of like Jake Penny round bullshit will be like, you police need to stop it, or else I'll get the Queen's assignment to take you out in my mind. You know, this is why everybody hates that sort of like breath-eating battery attitude. Everybody hates it. In large part, I'm going to turn on the cold water. Because, like, first of all, you're just trying to get everyone into victimhood, the same common victimhood, which is an insult in, like, a lot of registers. Like, especially immigrants out there don't want to be, like, assigned as, like, victim status or whatever. I don't know what evidence I have for that, but whatever. Because, I mean, a lot of them, a large amount of them, have come here to, you know, they consider it like, yeah, I did it. So they may be victims in some sort. But, you know, as a status, its universal truthhood as an identity is contingent. It's very contingent on your sort of politics. And that sort of identity politics is very contingent. A victimhood identity politics. As long as you make some certain things intentionally, intrinsically devalued, well, that's just, you're setting it up as such. It's a whole philosophical discourse that you're at fault for when you make the argument. It's sort of like, we're not actually arguing that because we're just racists. Of course. So, when you're arguing about privilege, you're really just arguing for someone, you're arguing to your fucking parents. It's bullshit. Which is why the only sort of like class complaints come through the prism of like generational warfare, which is kind of bullshit. Because what? So anyway. like a scientific perspective on the world. Woo! Cold. So what really resonates about this sort of movie to me is that coming from the South Korean perspective after like the 90s recession and shit, which I believe happened, I think. I forget. It's supposed to reflect the hard times and the delinquent youths, which is the most common sort of part of a recession, which makes it sort of politics proof. Because anything like anti-youth and anti-crime in that sense can easily be turned conservative. So, essentially, making it still about like old and young. The fact that old people are the only one who vote, it's just going to obfuscate that. So, what I find appealing about the fact that, you know, they're putting into the narrative, besides it being like, oh, one of them played baseball, so he was fired once. He quit the team, so he has baseball dreams. They have dreams. One of them has guitarist dreams after he attacks the gas station. I forgot to mention, but that's the point of the movie, is that they're robbing this gas station. They're delinquents. They're the marauders of the situation.
They're marauders of the situation. It's coming to Hunter Thompson.
Hunter Thompson was a scientist, and he killed himself, and that's a big fact about Hunter. This is the funniest fucking movie. Like, the singing gags were the one singer guy who couldn't be a singer anymore. Just like forces a boy band to come into existence. A boy band, by the way, with hard bops. Just hard bops. A sort of string of like red herrings that allow for the plot to go in this sort of shandified direction. Tight. Shandified. 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 And the fact of I don't know, it being this sort of nighttime production with sort of dolly zooms like in Jaws, with the guy in the chair sort of being like, it makes it a bit like more of a happily destructive movie, which is interesting. Like, a lot of the stuff I like about, like, Takashi Miike, Sion Sono, Bong Joon-ho, Park Chan-wook, Wong Kar-wai, is that the sort of, like, Asian perspective on drama is a much more sort of, rehabilitative, what are they called in prisons? What are prisons called? Sort of thing. Like, it's pedagogical rather than some sort of forespoken narrative. Or like some sort of like whim you're put on, like, oh, I don't deserve this. I guess that's the only thing that can be like, oh, the whims of stuff. Or the stories do happen, but they do happen on a whim. But once they do happen on the whim, they can only happen themselves in their sort of entirety. It's a weird...
Come on, Harry, come and eat.
I'm getting dressed.
What?
I'm getting dressed. Okay.
All you have to do is put a shirt on, right?
Alright.
Go move it.
Gravity. So with that in mind, this sort of like, I think this sort of fiction in particular is more valuable than you could get a lot from like nonfiction, because character insights are one thing, but sort of the level of character insight to which you have this sort of sociological insight as sort of rotating on the lens of character. However, like, unbeknownst to the people, to those at its whim, which I think whim is an underrated thing. Whim is always, this is bad. Destiny is always, this is good. Both have their place, but in general, I think we just have too many predilections, and those predilections are insightful, but they don't allow for things to go the other way, because just self-fulfilling prophecies. It's the weakest word in the book, really. Kind of a lame situation. Ooh, attack the gas station.